Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Buster Show podcast, powered by So Rare, brought to you through Rug Radio. This is a brand new series that we're doing through Rug Radio, powered by So Rare. And guest number one, Farokh.
Yo, what's up? Buster Show. Wow. This whole intro makes me really happy. I'm sure we'll talk about our history together during this podcast, but damn, I think it just hit me.
This has been it's been a very long time coming. You first came on the show. You were one of the very first guests when we did it in person, downtown Manhattan. We used to film them out of LeBron's old studio pre-COVID. You were probably in the first 15 or 20 episodes, maybe even earlier. I remember you came in with the Louis Vuitton Air Force Ones and just balling out of control. And you were obviously
Farokh that was like young and like spending money on the dumb things. I get it. Thanks for the reminder.
No, you gotta go through that. You gotta go through that. And you're obviously running Good Life, so it was on brand for that as well. But since then, obviously the world shut down for anybody that has been in a coma for the last 3-ish years. You came back on the podcast at the beginning. We did a 4-person podcast, I think, with Elliot and Swish. Love those guys. And then I think we did one more through Clubhouse, which I want to talk about because people, and I sent you this tweet the other day on text. I don't know if you saw it, but like people, it's true. People don't give the credit where it's due for how much Clubhouse did for basically culture at large and tons of businesses. And in some cases, entire industries that were spiked through Clubhouse, like NFTs. So do you want to talk about how you found NFTs, how we found NFTs? And I think that'd be a good intro to this story.
I mean, yeah, by the way, on the Clubhouse point, you're absolutely right. I mean, Clubhouse made its live social audio thing. And you can talk about timing and whatnot, but it was like, it started like a shift, a revolution almost, right? And then with regards to NFTs, it gave NFTs a voice, which is very important with storytelling and art in general. But I'm sure we'll get to that. But you know, wait, the question was about how we first started this Clubhouse thing.
Yeah, how we first started on Clubhouse, and then what happened.
Yeah, sorry. When I go off on the Clubhouse and live social audio as my social media brain that opens, and then I go on that tangent. But on the other tangent, I mean, this was crazy. So you and I obviously have our history together as friends, and as people have like created content together here and there. We've obviously been homies for a minute. You were my, I call you my COVID buddy. You know, we were like going like on FaceTime 2 hours a day, every single day, during the pandemic. Remember, that was a vibe.
Dude, that was, I mean, I forget most of that stuff. I mean, that
cards, the unpackings, the Pokemons, the live streams on Twitter, on Instagram Live, when I ripping packs, when I opened back-to-back Charizards, like, remember that?
Yeah, we were doing FaceTimes, ripping packs, and just basically talking collectibles for 2 hours a day at the beginning of COVID. Yeah.
I blame you for my accountant being pissed at me putting all these Pokemons on the business. But you know, and that's funny. They're all in my they're down here, but they're in the basement. They're in the box. And a lot of them are just still at the card shop. But anyways, what's funny is like when we discovered Clubhouse together, right? Like obviously Clubhouse had been around. We both knew what it was, but we were never doing anything on it. And then December 28th, 2020. I remember my dates. We were like, yeah, why don't we just make our own first Clubhouse room and, you know, fuck around and find out. So we did that. And then you opened the room. I remember it was like Buster and Farokh. I can probably find it, like Buster and Farokh predictions for 2021.
That's so funny.
We had listeners for 4 hours, and it was just you and I talking about predicting what we think will happen in the world of like social media and collectibles in 2021. Because we were already talking collectibles, and I was already, you know, very deep in the social media world. And then from there on, I got the bug. And so remember, I hosted a Clubhouse room for like 12 to 16 hours a day, every day from the point on that we started on Clubhouse, you and I.
Yeah, at the time, there was nothing else to do, and this stuff was just exploding. And there was a point in time, too, it only lasted for like 2 to 3 months, but where everybody influential in every walk of life was just spending their entire days on this platform. And it was the easiest, most accessible point. That's amazing. For anybody that's listening to the audio, Farok's holding up a phone showing everything 2021 with
And two
Farokh
listeners.
and Buster in this clubhouse room. That was our first one with 2 listeners.
Two listeners, literally 2 listeners. And that was the max listeners we got. It was like 10 of them.
That's amazing.
I remember my girlfriend being pissed
Ew.
because we were supposed to go for an hour. We went for 6 hours until 4 a.m. And then from there on, I got the clubhouse bug. But crazy.
That format is so nostalgic now. Oh my God. That
Screen
format's amazing.
smile.
But
Smile a lot.
so fast forward, we're doing a bunch of these rooms. They're going great. Like eventually thousands of people are joining every single room. It got nuts. It got out of control fast. And then, just wild stuff. Tons of deals are coming, just like things are going nuts. Then I ended up in a room talking about NFTs, and you came into the room. Logan Paul was in the room. Yep, there it is for anybody listening to the audio. Found the room. And we just started talking about NFTs, and it was just like, what is this? At first, ridiculous collectible class that people say exists, but I can't hold it. All right. And you just feel like it's some sort of scam, which a lot of them, especially early, probably were, and are still. And we'll talk more about that. But we just get thrown into the alligator den of NFTs. And what was your first interpretation of NFTs?
It's crazy because that room on February 18th, 2021 at 11:13 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love iPhone because it saves all the timestamps.
Yeah.
And so what's crazy is I remember I was hosting a party on Clubhouse for Montrealers. So I was wasted when I got into your room. I was half a bottle of Hendrix down. And it was one of those nights because I used to throw parties on Clubhouse for people like here in Montreal on Thursday. We threw a DJ thing. I was doing a bunch of stuff on Clubhouse for people to feel better, and all of us, maybe myself, to feel better in a way, because we had the pandemic bad here. Like we had the curfew at 8 p.m.
Right.
It was first. You weren't allowed 8 p.m. outside your home, and you get a big fine, and you weren't allowed even a friend over because it was a $10,000 fine. So there was literally nothing else to do but to be on Clubhouse. It was like a lifesaver in a way. And on that February 18th, I remember seeing you with this on the Buster show, Clubhouse Club, and you had a space called Collectibles and Cards and NFTs to the Moon with question. And then I remember because Logan Paul came up, it's not that you were affiliated to Logan Paul. It's like when Logan Paul comes up, it was like all these like listeners like run into the room because it was a celebrity in Clubhouse. So next thing you know, you go from 20 people to 2,000. Literally, that was the change, right?
Yeah.
Just a notification, right? The Clubhouse notification was crazy. And next thing you know, I go in there and I'm here like, obviously you were like the reference for me always with collectibles, and you've obviously helped me buy some cards. I have some of them still in the back here. And you helped me with the Pokemon stuff and whatnot. So you're always my go-to guy for like collectibles. You still are. And then, I end up in this room and I'm like, what the F is an NFT? What does it mean? How does it work? Blah, blah. Next thing you know, all the biggest artists now in the world came into your room. It was Ferocious, Victor Mascara, Fuck Render, Greg Mike, Lady Phoenix, Tommy Kimmelman, who's on the Manifold, Richard, like all the people who were pioneers now today were in that room. And those were the people that you and I were asking a ton of questions to, like, what is an NFT? How does it work? What does it mean? Like, Naveen, Blau. I mean, there's everyone in that room. It was so, even Ben Baller was in there. It's so funny. I still have all the screenshots, Buster, of who was
so
in
crazy.
that stage.
Literally, the who's who of NFTs was in there.
Ferocious, Greg Mike, Blau, like on this one line here. Like, it's actually insane. And I remember that night, I understood right away what an NFT was. And it hit me because I was asking all the stupid question on your stage. Like, what does it work? What do you mean? What does it have value?
Mm-hmm.
And the next day I dropped everything I was doing. Like, your room went until 5 a.m., I think. And the next day I dropped everything I was doing. And 2 days later, I bought my first NFT. And then I've been hosting every single day since then, 2 years ago. On
NFTs.
NFT.
Man, it's so incredible. I'm so happy and that, things have, sort of gone the way that they have, and the industry grew so much. It's funny because, like, of course, people now are like, NFTs are dead, but you should have seen it in 2020. They were dead in 2020. They hadn't been born yet. Now, I mean, they're what, thousands of times bigger today than they were at the peak of 2020, and we're talking about 2 years. Like, zoom out. It's incredible. I don't want to gloss over everything in between to Rug Radio, but I guess just one question on sort of the stuff that happened in between. What was the energy like in like Bored Ape Yacht Club is like 2 ETH, crypto punks are like 5 ETH, and you're trying to like, I remember you tried to get me to buy
Every
ape
day.
apes pretty low, and
Under 1 ETH. I want to go on the record. Under 1 ETH.
probably punk's pretty low too. And I'm the most difficult to convince on any collectible category because I collect historical documents and things that I think should be in museums. So it takes a lot more time for me to be convinced. But when I am convinced, I go in. I try to go in heavy.
Go deep.
But that all happened early. How much fun was that for you very early on when you didn't have Rug Radio yet, but you were flipping and buying and selling NFTs?
It was the most exciting time ever. I mean, 2021 was absolute madness, right? It was so much fun, and like discovering the Bored Ape Yacht Club on May 1st, like, and then buying my first ape at like 0.27, 0.35 and 1 ETH, and like just being early, and then just like seeing, like, I got it right away. Like, I know for a lot of people, like, you have to go through steps, and then turn, like you said, for example, you went the route of like, and you did. Actually, it's funny because we found out together, but then we went different routes. Like, I went the balls to the wall, blind. I'm going in. This is going to change the world. This digital renaissance, this digital evolution is going to change my life, and I'm going to be able to change the life of others. That's where I went. Right. And you went the route of like the slower onboarding, educational route, which everybody should be going through, right? Usually not everyone can afford to just go like me, like all in, but I'm an all in type of person, right?
I love it. That's what makes you, and that's why you're successful.
Yeah, I mean, and I just love it. I did that with Instagram. I did that with Tumblr. I did that before. So it was like, okay. But how it was like, it was the excitement of feeling that I was genuinely part of something that was going to change the world, and something that was first and foremost changing the art world, because we got in before the whole collectible, like Bored Ape Yacht Club mania. Remember, it was February. So it was like, when you like came in, it was like the artist that taught us what an NFT was. Like on stage there, that screenshot is not like all these builders, all these artists, right? Ryan, thank you, X, Victor Ferocious, and stuff like that. And so I felt like I was in the middle, and I was always an art lover. So I felt like I was in the middle of the Renaissance. I feel like when, I guess, MFers felt during the actual real Renaissance back then, that's how I felt. And I used to say it, like, and I went on an NFT Now podcast early on those times, like 2021. They were like asking me that. And there's a clip of me saying, like, the legends of tomorrow are on this clubhouse room right now, on your left, right, up, down. Pay attention to what's happening here. You never know. And 2 years later, look at where Ferocious is. 2 years later, look at where all these big artists that were on our stage, or these
some of the
like,
biggest selling artists in history, like history. Ever, like compared to Renaissance painter, like ever. Yeah, it's insane.
Within 2 years. So it's crazy. That was the feeling for me. It was like this magical moment of like missing Bitcoin in 2012, regretting it, missing ETH in 2015, 16, regretting it, and seeing NFTs in 2021 and realizing that like I cannot miss this one because this is my calling, and like I need to go in.
I love that. So how did Rug Radio come to be then?
Dude, it's actually crazy. So the whole, like, me hosting Twitter Spaces. No, so eventually over the summer, the shift went from Clubhouse to Twitter Spaces, right?
Right.
So same thing, different app, right? So hosting live social audio, shows every single day, but I didn't have a framework, right? It was not like you have a framework, right? It's the Buster Show, it's weekly episode, and now we have a framework with Web3, which is a morning show, just a framework, right? But it was mostly just me going on like a Clubhouse vibe, opening a room for 12 hours, and I'll be there and hosting some of the biggest conversations that, if I could go back to them, are probably some of the most game-changing convos, because not because of me, by all means, because of the people I had on. But I would ask all the questions, so I was in the best seat in the house. I get to ask questions to those legends and educate myself while educating everybody else, right? And best. So I remember like taking people hand on hand how to make their ENS, their .eth, on a room with 2,000 live people. We taught every single person how to register. 6 months later, airdrop, everybody make 10 grand. So it was really cool, stuff like that, right? The airdrop from
Yeah,
ENS.
those ENS airdrops, when all the airdrops, there was a period of time for those that, haven't
SOS,
been in the
Looks,
NFT and crypto
ENS.
space. These companies would just give money back to the people that supported them when they launched their tokens and things like that. And
Governance, not money. you know,
it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, but it was crazy. So, anyways, fast forward like months, right? Because at this stage, like you and I hosted our first room December 28th, 2020. This stage, we're September 19th, 2021. So almost a full year later, I've hosted over hundreds of rooms. I think I've done my paid my dues in terms of, I still have to pay them every day now, but like in terms of like research and understanding this community, because I genuinely closed my business and was doing this 16 hours a day for that whole 8 months already. So I had put in my hours, and I was in a space 10 hours long. This guy goes, yo, in my Discord, too bad I got to go back to my $11 an hour job. I wish I could stay and listen to this conversation. And I was like, and then it clicked. I was like, what if I can create a talk show, a media company? I was already in media, right? I've been doing media for like almost for 10 years. That's how you and I met. You were doing media with Hoops Nation, me with Good Life, and my whole media brand and company. But I was like, can I build that a media brand and reward participants for participating? So they're not just consumers anymore. They're network participants, right? And then reward creators, people like Buster, myself, and everybody on the stage for creating content, all while the network gains value. And so that's when I was like, who wants to be head of tokenomics? And there was this lady Mel who built the tokenomics structure. And then we partnered with Syndicate DAO to put that out, and we tokenized it and formed it as a DAO. So the Rug Radio is actually the Rug DAO, right? Which governs over the entire thing, right? And then now we have, fast forward that, like we have 67 creators, 40 plus shows, different verticals, different languages. And it's really cool. And my goal was really always to build something bigger than me. Like I was scared. And I know a lot of people find that funny when I tell them, because I'm only 28 and 27 at the time. I was scared of plateauing, and I was scared that my life would start doing this, and that I had to build something bigger than me that would empower others. Because this space can't have a Farokh. It needs like hundreds of them. And these people different than me. And we need to empower the right people, because we can talk all the shit we want about Web 2, but then let's actually try and build Web 3 in the terms of let's actually empower the right people so that we can help educate, on board, and do entertain the masses with regards to Web3 NFTs and this technology, blockchain, which is truly game changing.
Totally. Now, so you launch Rug Radio, you start doing rooms under this new name, you launch an NFT, which are the actual rugs, and they're NFTs that look like rugs, featuring lots of the most famous projects in the space. And those rugs yield the tokens, which get you into the DAO, and also, things like the new PFP that you did with Corey Van Loo, who's a super popular artist in the space. What was your goal with the NFTs when you started that? And now, I guess over a year in now, how has that changed, and how has it, exceeded some of those expectations?
I mean, honestly, like we're right on par with like where expectations and where I wish this would be going. I did realize over the last few weeks that, wow, we're like actually like we're hitting that velocity where like we're growing very fast, and I have to be careful with that, right? Because it's a good problem, right? But it's like,
Right.
whoa, like this is really big, and I have to make sure we grow right, because or else it can hurt, and we grow properly and the right pace. But it's actually incredible, dude. Like from the point where the conception of Rug Radio and the name, because we kept getting rugged on Spaces, because it's not like Clubhouse. Twitter Spaces tech to this day is still really trash. So the room kept ending. So you would host, and it ends, or host and your screen turns purple or your phone overheats. So people would put ice packs while hosting on their phones. And so we call it Rug Radio because we kept getting rugged like that. I'm Persian because Persian rugs, and rug, like the term getting rugged on Twitter. And then there's another meaning where it's like when you build a home, the first thing you put on the floor is the rug, and then you put a couch, the table, the TV, and everything. It ties the room together. But most importantly, it is the base. And Rug Radio aims to be the infrastructure and the base for people in the space to come and build on top of. Right? I'm not trying to be your first NFT. I'm trying to be your second one. So you've joined a community. Now what? Well, you want to join Rug Radio to be able to like really like get the most out of Web3 and everything else. So, dude, it's been just crazy. Like within like the sale of the rugs on January 11th, 2022, when our official, like, I guess, birth date and launch. Even before that, we did the free membership passes for everyone. Like, it's just been a trip. Like, to be able to grow a year and some change after and just be where we're at. It's like
It's been so much fun to be a rug holder and a friend of yours and a supporter of the whole ecosystem, and now a partner through, content like this. Because rug radio really is like the new era. I mean, we joked about it being radio before this, but content production studio, like the output of hours of content cannot be paralleled in any other sector. Like the pure quantity of content that, comes through live and podcasts and things like that. I mean, really, it would be impossible for somebody else to do it, especially in a space like this, which is constantly changing. And that's part of the fun about it too.
yeah, I mean, it's really cool. Like, and I'm serious. Like, what's cool about the space is we like nostalgia in the space a lot. And radio, like, radio takes you back to like your childhood, your mom or dad driving you to school and always having the radio tuned in. Like, I don't know about you, but it was the case for me. In France, mom, like radio, even in Montreal and Quebec, like always, I remember like 105.7 FM, like
Yeah.
they're like, and so when you see me now here with the arm and the thing and the art, and I'm gonna build a whole studio of this at the Roadcaster, everything going on, like I love that we're live, like live social audio, and that's what Clubhouse created. We were talking about it when you started, is way more special than, in my opinion, than any form of content. Because I love the pre-recorded that we're doing now and the podcast stuff, but for me, I'm more of like the nature of like I love the live, I love the raw, unedited type of content, and allows you to do so much with it. Because think about it, I just wrapped up my morning show this morning again from 10:30 to 12. Out of that, it's uploaded to YouTube, so it's also in the form of a podcast. And then out of that, multiple clips are made for every other platform and therefore repurposed. So the content you can get out of that from a media standpoint is really pretty crazy. And now you multiply that with 60 people, 60 creators, 60 times. And it's really like, I think it's really cool to be able to like really build, in that format.
Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. The amount of stuff that's going out is insane. So we talked a little bit before about how you got into Pokemon cards, how you got into sports cards, then how that led to NFTs. So Rare, which is powering this episode and what this whole series is about, is sort of the best of both, because it's like sports cards, but it merges the digital technology with that and allows you, to play fantasy sports in a way that traditional sports cards don't allow you to do. What was your first introduction to So Rare? Because I know you have some experience as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the market every day and what's happening in the space, you also pay attention to what's happening like with like what you're not seeing firsthand. And like, Sora is that company, right? Like it was crazy because during the World Cup, they ran a game that's 500,000 people. 500,000 people sign up to play a game with them. That's not even blew you out of the water. You were like, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, if you compare it to sports cards, like the highest population of a, card, and people are like, oh my God, that's so many. How can like this even exist, is like 10,000.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Actually, I didn't know that.
So those numbers are just amazing. And the fact that everybody's able to play, people are able to win, you're able to get in and get cards for free. Like, it's nuts.
What I like is that it's all NFTs too, and most people don't know. So it's digital collectibles, right?
Yeah.
And they never use the words that say NFTs and stuff like that to their marketing outside. And so, like I played FIFA growing up my whole life. I'm French. I love soccer, football. So it's my sport. And so that's where they went big, right? It's like the unpack, you pack those players, then you can, play them and everything. And look, like fantasy sports in USA is big. And the fact that they get to work with franchises like the NBA, like for me, this is good for the space. Cause like companies like that help with like the mass onboarding, the meme, oh, onboarding, but also the education of people into Web3, and shows you that this technology, the blockchain, can be used to do things that we're doing, like rewarding creators and whatnot and empowering them, or things like they're doing, which is rewarding the consumer for, like the value of his card goes up, let's say, because he's winning. Yeah. Like there's so many different aspects of it, and the collectible side. Like if anything, for you, it must be like crazy. And you're at the intersection of that because you're very young, but you understand the collectibles game and you're one of the big names in there, and you understand the value of that, 1952. What's the card that's $5 million? Like crazy, like
the 52 Mantle. Yeah.
52 Mantle. But you understand the Charizard first edition, PSA 10. You understand those things, but now you have the blockchain aspect to it. it's insane to me. Like
Yeah,
this is like
it's
perfect.
funny too. Like NFTs have become such a trigger word that it's the way they've gone about it is genius. I mean, they have 3 million registered users,
That's crazy.
650,000 monthly actives, 50,000 monthly active buyers, and it's the biggest card game in crypto.
That's what I want to be.
Leo
When you
Messi's
get that,
also Leo
great.
Messi's an investor, and there's a partnership with him. And since the cards are NFTs, even if it's not always advised as
Digital
such,
collectibles, digital collectibles.
you own it forever.
I love that.
You
I
own it
love that.
forever. And that's something cool, that unfortunately happens in physical cards sometimes. The house gets flooded. Your mom gives them to the cleaning lady.
No,
Don't give anybody your keys.
you know what's
Whatever
crazy?
you do, don't give anybody your so rare cards. Keep your so rare cards for yourself.
Hey, no, you never know. The shit will like. I mean, the more this technology, gets mass adopted, the more companies like that will do well. Because I like working with that team in general. So we're partnering with them, but like, it's cool because when you give me all these numbers, it's like inspiring to me as a founder of Rug Radio, because I want to get to that point. Like these active users, these people, these listeners, and whatnot that are not necessarily all within Web3's echo chamber, but outside. And it's very hard for a company in the space, which a lot of them are trying to do through IP and everything, to actually break outside of our little crypto space. And they've done it so masterfully. And it's actually, wow, like I'm pretty sure they were the biggest seed round raise in the history of Europe.
Is that
Uh,
true?
yeah,
That's
it's true.
crazy.
Like the biggest in the seed round in America was Yuga Labs recently with the $4 billion raise, but the biggest in Europe was so rare. And so how I was introduced to them was through Mando, my co-host on the morning show, which one day we were trying to get the biggest founders in this. We try to interview the biggest people in crypto.
Mhm.
And he invited Nicolas Julia, who's French, just like me, and who was a founder. And so we interviewed him, and I remember being like, "Whoa!" Like I just because I had heard of it. Obviously, even Gary, right? Gary V and his brother, like
Yeah, I
everyone was
remember
all
they were posting about it early
pretty sure they
too.
invested. Pretty,
They were
pretty sure they participated in the rounds. Like
makes
all these
sense.
people, they were early, like aping into that. I know Kalish, all these people, right? Like the same crew, they were early on that shit. And so when I interviewed Nicola, I was like, holy shit, like this is crazy. Plus, maybe the fact that it's French, they're based in Paris. I thought that was even more fun. Like, I thought that's so super cool. So, yeah, those are the type of companies. It's cool that you're talking about this like that and showing numbers because, like, it's wild and people don't realize, like, it's all NFTs.
Yeah, if you guys aren't on there, definitely get on. We'll include all the info if you're watching this below in the description, or if you're listening to the audio, just go to my Instagram and you'll find it there. But yeah, this is it's pretty nuts. I'm playing. I'm just getting into it now, testing out the fantasy. I've got my commons. I'm playing mostly NBA right now because it's the heat of the season. If you're listening to this when it's put out, if you're listening to this in 2035, who knows what sport is going on. There's probably going to be like a
Knicks are on
pickle.
fire, huh?
There's
Your
there's going
Knicks
to be
are.
a pickleball World Series. I don't know.
Bro, are we buying a pickleball team or what? Like, what's the
Dude,
deal there?
apparently everybody and their mom is buying a pickleball team. I'm not buying it yet.
One so rare pickleball NFT collectibles where you can like play your players out there. I love that whole pickleball trend picking up right now. I'm a big
Yeah.
rackets. Yeah, I love that
How do you
stuff.
feel about is pickleball is like the in between to ping pong and tennis, right?
Kind of like I played squash my whole life, growing
Okay.
up. So I was like, since I'm a kid, I was like 5-time Quebec champion, top 20 in Canada, sponsored athlete. I would go to the US Open at Harvard every year. Like I would take it very seriously. And then I stopped when I got into law school. But I love racket sports. But the reason why squash never picked up, for example, at the Olympics, their sports is too complicated to watch because little ball, it's very fast. It's actually one of the toughest sports in the world. It's one of the most cardiovascular sports in the world, but it's too tough to watch. Now you have these like pickleball courts as like tennis, but it's like mix of tennis and like saying ping pong, squash mix. It's a big ball. It's more fun. It's faster. It's easy.
Yeah.
It makes noise. It's glamorous. It's like everybody's playing pickleball. So I'm just happy to see that something stemmed out of that.
It's
Because squash could have been, but it was too
yeah.
tough for people.
No, it's been cool to watch it grow. I'm excited to see if it can make the next leap too. So back to the Web3 sort of side of things. I think something a lot of people are wondering, especially right now, is, like what it seems like, a couple things worked out, a lot of things failed
Mhm.
in crypto, in NFTs, and now a lot of people are pivoting to AI. Do Web3 and AI have anything in common? And if so, what?
I think AI in general, my stance on is that it's an amazing crutch to help you like with things that you don't necessarily need to be like low hanging fruit stuff. Like we're trying to implement AI within a lot of our operations and things we're doing. It's funny. This week I sent a note to my team with an article of like 100 tools that are came out of because ChatGPT went open source. So
Mhm.
now people are using their own building their own tools. I think AI could be really good for that stuff to help with the little things, the note taking, the this, that. Like there's so much stuff AI does that we don't need to be doing,
Yeah.
right? Especially as an entrepreneur, you're always trying to optimize your work and focus your time and compartmentalize it in things in place that it should be, right? So AI is great for that. And it's important in Web3, I think, right? Like it's part of the again, like Web3 to me, just the digital evolution of Web2, right? I think a lot of people are too nitpicky about words and whatnot. That's why Web3 or NFTs get a bad name, whatever. It's like we're not trying to kill Web2. It's just Web2 is naturally evolving towards blockchain technology, which is Web3 through, tokenized communities, token gated content or not. It's all part of Web3. It's connecting your wallet instead of connecting your email. That's
Mhm.
Web3. We need to overcomplicate it. And AI just makes it all easier to use, right? So it's like not competing or whatever. It's just side by side. It's perfect. Like it's funny. Like a lot of the things, for example, my girlfriend talks to me about it with AI. She's like, "Oh my god, you see this AI thing?
For
Whatever." I'm like,
example, my girlfriend is AI.
for example, my girlfriend, she is AI. Uh,
I am
and
dating a chatbot.
exactly. You laugh at this, but some weird MFers are going to
Oh,
be doing that.
I know. It's already a thing. People, you saw there was a chatbot that told a guy to divorce his wife to be with the chatbot. It was like an error by, I think it was Bing's AI
Oh yeah, yeah,
chatbot.
I saw a bunch of stuff with Bing. Yeah, 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 yeah. That stuff was crazy, bro.
Dude, it went off the road. It was
Yo,
saying
that's the
crazy
crazy
stuff.
part. That's the sick part. Don't get no ideas. You have to worry about the guy she told you not to worry about, and now you have to worry about the AI.
Dude,
But
are we cheating on our significant others with AI?
my AI is a guy. So
My AI is an alien.
there you go. There you go. Yeah, but it's just like the things she tells me, like my girlfriend will tell me, "Oh, did you see this with AI?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, I did." What's funny is like things I've seen months ago, like Dolly, because
Sure.
artists started exploring with AI within Web3 because crypto artists are at the forefront of this evolution. So they're clearly at the forefront of using different technologies in order to create. That's what we do in the space. So it's fun because when you're in crypto and whatever you call NFTs or Web3 or blockchain tech, you're honestly ahead of the curve with a lot of these things. How long ago were we talking about ChatGPT on the show, bro? Like it was December, November, December. We're talking about it. We're all over it. And now you're seeing the trends kind of start hitting the masses. So what I like about being in the space that you're always working side by side of the most like, you know, um, up to date technologies.
For sure. Yeah, and things are growing, and evolving as fast as possible. It's like the compounding curve of basically every technology in human history. It just goes faster and faster and faster and faster. And one of a few interesting things will happen, but we're going to get all the technology and probably solve all the problems in the world while doing it too. I believe that'll happen in the next couple 100 years.
I agree with you too. I mean, I think all like it's crazy, dude. Like just the advancements of AI already in a couple months is insane. So now imagine by the end of this year. I mean, I'm already trying to see how it can help me be better at my work. So I think
Sure.
everybody should like, at least get curious. I know it could be scary. My stance 2 months ago was I'm scared of it. I would say it publicly, but I'm scared of it. I don't know where it's going. 2 months later, it's like, wow, how can I use that to help me be better? So even my team, I told them, try to see how all this enhances your work in certain places, whether it's note taking, whether it's like articles, like maybe you can help it like shorten your stuff, your threads, organizing your thoughts, organizing meetings. What would you have a basic EA now for stuff like that when you have an AI doing it?
Yeah.
Therefore, your EA can actually do some higher level work that can help you more. Like really like there's a lot of opportunity
Yeah,
here.
your EA is now the most well-informed person in human history.
Literally, bro.
The
Like literally.
best generalist ever. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's I respect, that a lot. Um, Yeah, I think a lot of the fears are overblown. I did a video about this the other day where it was basically like all the AI technologies you've been using for years, such as, when you sign into your phone, spell check, Google Maps. These are all, machine learning based on information that you give it and information that everybody else gives it, and then it improves itself. This stuff has been around for years in lots of different forms. And you're not afraid that the tech that unlocks your phone is going to take your job and kill your family. Like, that's just not how it works. It makes your life easier and it makes it better, and it allows you to focus on, stuff that you actually care about.
But
And
they
it
were afraid of
drives
it at
you
first.
forward.
They were afraid of
Everybody's
the internet. They were afraid of the email. They were afraid of this. Now
Bro,
they're blocked.
mathematicians were afraid of the calculator. They thought it would ruin us. They thought it would ruin us. They were like, this is the worst thing to ever happen to
I love that.
humanity.
I love that.
Humanity.
Really? Dude, I need to
Yes.
search for that. I'm gonna use that example a lot. That mathematician was scared of the calculator. That's so good.
Well, it was just like, why would you even learn how to do math if you have a calculator? That was the thought. That was the thought process.
We just did math better though, thanks to it.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know what like the actual this is a more interesting debate on like whether kids should be able to use ChatGPT to write all their school papers instead of actually doing it. I'm on the fence. Uh I I feel as though it should kids should be allowed to outline stuff, but then they have to go in and make it really nice. That's my personal thought. I do think that keeping kids from this technology is a net negative, though,
Yeah.
because it's just you're gonna have it in the real world. It's like not allowing you to
Well,
use.
when they're grown up, it's just like us. If we say, "Why do we do all this math stuff when we're never using it for just by our phone?"
Sure.
So it's similar. Don't gatekeep technology from future
Yeah,
generations.
or like us with social media. I remember my high school like blocked it on everything, and probably for good reason for most kids. But like I was building a business, it allowed me not to go to college. There's technology out there that can really benefit people young, and I think time has shown that that's only been easier. You and I wouldn't be able to have built media companies if it weren't for social as young as we both did.
Facts.
So there's a lot to thank for that. And this is no different, in my opinion. It's scary only because of the way that it's being portrayed in media, because they
Oh,
get clicks when they scare you. That's all it is. It's fear mongering for engagement because they can, and there have been a million
they're
horror
gonna be
movies
using
about
it.
it.
They're probably using it. They're probably using it themselves. It's just all fear. It's like crypto's scary. This is bad. All things bad. I'm excited to operate in the industry that's scary and bad per the media. you know?
Yeah, well, that's how a lot of people have categorized NFTs too. Meanwhile, like I've watched Yuga Labs, I've watched, a few other companies in the space just operate well. There hasn't been any problems. Like, it's been smooth and steady, better than, you know, a lot of tech companies in the last,
Even when
year.
I explained to you our like payment mechanism behind the scenes for like our employees and teams, remember when I told you like
Yeah, I
everything
was like, what the hell does this?
month
Why don't other
on
people do this?
like it, and you were like, whoa. And I was like, yeah, like for me, it's like basic. And then for you, were like, but a company doesn't usually have that. But like even things like that, like every first of the month, let's say, or second of the month, or second week of the month, whatever you as a founder listening have as like a method of payment for your employees, this thing goes out on chain every time. Like, and you don't miss. And it just like is there and you have to trace like all these little things. Like, what's so bad about the blockchain?
You
Like,
know, there are corporations out there that do net 90 and net 180.
trust me, I know it's so crazy. And
Like, what?
yeah. I
It's
mean,
an
I've had
entirely
conversations like
different.
you in media, right? When Web2 media, like Instagram, oh yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do the deal for like not with Instagram, but on Instagram for our pages. Like, yo, we'll do this deal. Yeah, but it's net 45. Net stays get paid. I'm like, hell no, bro. Like, what the hell? Like, and it's like, oh, but then you have to do an invoice, and it's everything's on chain here. Everything's transparent. Everything's fast, seamless. I don't have to walk to the bank in Canada to because here and for me here, Montreal, anything above 2,500, I always had to go to the freaking bank physically to send money. Bro, what the hell are you talking about, bro? I can send as much money as I want to Buster right now in a click on this show, and it'll be done by the time I'm done my breath.
That's
You
so
know?
crazy. Yeah, one thing I will say though, and maybe this will benefit some people out there, hopefully save some people, but the voice and deep fake thing, people should be very uh aware of, especially when it involves money. Like I've heard of stories already where people will deep fake a kid's voice and call their family and ask them to send money, but it sounds like the kid because they have recreated his voice. So just for everybody out there, know that that exists and advise your loved ones accordingly. And anybody on the bank side, I'm gonna make like a full video about this, like a dedicated thing about it as well. But if everybody's aware of it, it's not a problem. Banks will adjust. It's just there's like probably a 6-month period now where
10 years period for banks to adjust.
yeah, you just yeah, maybe.
Definitely start educating people. You just remind me of that because this shit is crazy, bro. The deep fake stuff, that could be scary.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be fun. Like, let me put a lighter twist to it. The memes that come out of deep fakes are gonna be off the chart. Like the greatest, we're about to enter, like you said, it was the Renaissance era for
Yeah,
NFTs.
yeah, yeah.
We're
Let's
about to enter
go.
the Renaissance of memes.
Memes. The memetics, like your favorite shit poster, is in trouble right now because the favorite, yet like the best memers are about to be AIs, and we're about to die. And that is so funny, and the AI will have made all the
Bro,
memes.
we're all gonna die from laughing too hard. That's what's gonna happen. That's my prediction for 2024. The memes are gonna be so funny, we're just gonna explode.
Dude, it's so funny. I can't wait. I'm a big fan of memes and memetics and all that, so I'm all for it.
Yeah, man. So how can people find and watch more Rug Radio shows?
I mean, it's all like we're pretty good with the information outflow. So it's like all on rug.fm, rug.fm. And then at Rug Radio on Twitter is where our main communications are, but also our YouTube is on there. But if you go to the website, rug.fm, it's like a hub. I made it on purpose that everything leads to the website. It's easier for people to find their thing. And then from there, I would go to the Discord. If you're serious about wanting to join the community, like definitely in Discord, we have a very good operational structure on Discord with a great community. We have more than 15,000 people. We have 40,000 people on Discord, but we have over
Holy cow.
yeah, but we have 15,000 holders of our radio assets. And so there's always someone that's here to help. Our moderators, myself at times, and
Yeah,
then
I'm around now too.
yeah, you are.
I'm supporting.
Dude, I'm so hyped about
Go.
this. And for me, it's like usual, Farokh, Farokh, all platforms never changed. I feel like it was the same thing 4 years, 5 years ago on our first podcast. It's the same thing today. It's on the Farokh umbrella, but that's where it is. But yeah, dude, it's all the info's there. And then it's definitely Twitter in this space a lot, but I think people are going to see a lot more of us on YouTube. For sure.
Amazing. Well, I love you, man. I appreciate us doing this part of Rug Radio, powered by So Rare. And it's going to be a really fun series going on. One weekly sports show powered by So Rare every Friday at noon, I believe, is the release time. It's going to be fun. And I'll be coming on your morning show more too.
Hell yeah. I can't wait for that. I'm excited we're finally doing this thing together. Because like Buster and I, we've been talking a lot. Obviously, we've been like best friends forever. And now it's like I was always trying to find ways we can finally work together. And this is fun. Like, and it's also like not even work. It's so much fun.
Yeah,
it's like
I mean, this is just us hanging out, but it's an excuse.
And cool friends.
Because adults need excuses to hang out, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's actually super cool. So, anyways, thank you for having me. As usual, it's an honor to be on the Buster Show. It's like one of my favorite shows. So let's get it. Thank you.
Love you, bro. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Peace.